Okay, so we are going to talk about Marriage Bootcamp Episode 6 Sugar Coated Lies. And as per every episode, it has to start and end with Benzino and Althea arguing. So, of course, that's what it starts off with, as usual. Um, Basically, they mentioned, like, oh, there's no violence in the house, and da da da. Like, if it happens again, we'll send you guys home. And, like, do they have to say this, like, every single episode? Like, just send them home. Like, you keep saying you're gonna send them home, but, you know, damn well you ain't sending them home. And at this point, I was like, please let them go home, because it was so negative in the house every single day. And we would start a challenge, and every single day it'd be postponed or something would happen because they were arguing. It was like, come on, like, you really can't be arguing that much. By the way, it's really cold in Georgia right now. You know, it was like 75 on Christmas over here, and now it is snowing. It's supposed to snow like the next 5 hours, and I can see snow coming down on my security cameras. It doesn't look like it's sticking, though, because everything just looks wet. So I'm sure tomorrow is going to be icy, cold mess. All right, so Jim tells Benzino that Althea is upset because he told everyone she was pregnant. And this is the thing about that, because later on, of course, one other cast member already knows. But secondly, they had already put on Twitter and stuff that she was pregnant. And then knowing they were going on the show, they took it down so it could come out on the show. So they planned on saying it on the show. So for it to, like, cause a fight, like, you guys purposely knew that one person was going to say it, the other person would be mad. But it's like they would, like, forget their lies or whatever I guess they had set up or something, to where it would turn out to be, like, a real fight, and that they were, like, really, really arguing. And of course it led to more and more arguing. But, like, they had already put on Twitter and stuff that they were pregnant and having a baby. So for Althea to keep going and saying, like, all this stuff is really, really petty to me. I wish they would have showed in our interviews, because Ink and I were like, Benzino already slipped up and told us that was already on Twitter, that they already told everybody, and then they took it down. So that's really stupid. Yeah, no. Took it way too far. And then gonna smack him upside the head. But whatever. I don't put my hands on, like, I've never hit a guy before first. Like, I've never put my hands on a guy. I've never scratched him. I've never slapped him, punched him, nothing like that. I was in one situation where the guy I dated was kind of violent, and he punched holes in the walls and stuff, and one time he smacked me, I smacked him back. He smacked me again, I smacked him back a second time, and then it ended up being broke up. This was when I was like 20 years old, and then I later was in a domestic violence situation where the guy would, like, literally beat me up, and I would swing back, punch him, whatever else. But, like, I don't think a woman should just hit a man. Like, I don't think it's okay. Especially to not, I don't know. I don't think that people should be hitting each other, especially if you're in a relationship with somebody. But I would never just put my hands on a man. I think that's very disrespectful, and it's very tacky, and I don't believe in doing that. But enough said about that. Okay, it's like the morning time. Mama June is saying that she's gonna microwave the bacon. Kathryn's like, ew, no. Like, Kelsey's mom always microwave bacon. I always think it's, like, the weirdest, grossest thing. And Kelsey's like, no, my mama always does it. By the way, we have different moms. And I was like, Kelsey, that's really, really weird. Like, oh my God, hello? Can I not respond back for a couple seconds? All right, so the bacon thing, I agree. No, you don't microwave bacon. All right, so then Ink is complaining in the kitchen, like, Kathryn, that's too many hash browns, and what the hell are you doing to Mama June? Like, that's not how you cook bacon, like, because she was putting, like, grease or butter already in the bacon pan, when, you know, bacon has its own grease. And Ink even said, like, he didn't mean any harm by it, and he doesn't realize that his tone of voice and the way he talks can come across as very rude to other people. And I've had conversations with him numerous times where he doesn't get it. He's like, that's just my personality. And that's what I explained to them, like, that's just the way he is. I remember I cooked him something once, and I was so upset because he ate something that I cooked, and he was like, ew, that's nasty. I was like, what? That is so disrespectful. You don't say that. You'd be like, okay, I don't really like this, or I don't want to eat this, or, you know, whatever else. You don't go, ew, that's nasty. Like, you just can't say certain words, whether you're thinking it or not. Like, it's not about being blunt and honest. There's just, like, some things you should just keep to yourself or come into better words because of how it's going to make the other person feel. So watching it back, he was just complaining like, Kathryn, that ain't how, Mama June, that ain't how, you know, and it's like really, really annoying. And for one, the hash browns didn't turn out the right way because Kathryn did put too many in the pan, so nobody really ate them. They were mushy and stuff. And then, of course, everybody knows you don't put grease in the pan to cook bacon. So he was right about the two of them, but it's like the way he gives out his message. Like, you can't just talk to people like that because it's not going to come across as, what is it called? Something criticism, like when you help somebody. Constructive criticism. Yeah, that's not constructive criticism. It just sounds like you're insulting because of your tone of voice and how you're saying it. All right, so we're sitting at the breakfast table, and Ink tells Althea he figured out Benzino in a few days. How come she hasn't in a few years, and da-da-da. And I get what he's saying because even Judge Tolerant said, you know, give him a compliment. He's going to be cheerful. We all get that and stuff like that. But the way Ink said it to her, it's like, I get him in a couple days. Like, how can you not in a couple years? Like, you ain't trying. So, of course, once again, that's kind of like patronizing, and it's the way he said it, even though Judge Toller and everybody said it before. It was just the way it came across. All right, so Kathryn says to him, you're telling other people they can't have opinions when you're talking the whole time, telling everyone how you feel about Benzino and about Althea and Benzino, whatever. And that's, like, so true. He's always accused me of, like, not listening and stuff, and I can admit that when we get into arguments and stuff, I could listen a little bit more, but I just, like, get tired of, like, going back and forth and, like, hearing whatever crap is going on. But in this situation, I understand exactly how Kathryn feels because it's like he wants to state his opinion and then he doesn't want to listen to what other people have to say. Like, in this situation, yes, he was right about Althea, but for one, the message didn't come across the right way. And secondly, you're getting mad at other people for stating their opinion. Whether you disagree or not, it doesn't have to be, like, everything doesn't have to be an argument or a debate. All right, so in the living room, Jim and Elizabeth said take a break, and it makes it look like we didn't do anything all morning. We actually did this, like, truth or dare game by the lake, and it was a lot of fun. Like, they had, like, little picnic out, and we had champagne, and out of all people, I was, like, walking down the stairs, I'm like, oh, she's kind of hot. It was Natalie. Natalie hosted the truth or dare game, so too bad none of it got shown, but we played truth or dare and stuff. It was a lot of fun. I'm very upset they didn't show it. Ink got a card that says dare to jump in the lake, and he did. He took his shirt off, took his pants off, he was just in his underwear, and he jumped in the lake. And there was a bunch of other little stuff that went on, like Mama June had to give Sugar Bear a sexy lap dance. She, like, got on top of him and was, like, straddling him, and I was, like, smacking her on the butt. What's her name? Sundy had to give Cedric a dance, which was all sexy on his lap, and she was all turned on and stuff, and I was like, I just knew for sure they were going to have sex that night. But of course, all hell breaks loose a little bit later. Benzino and Althea. Benzino got mad and left. He didn't participate, but Althea did stay down and play. Kathryn and Sean, I don't remember if they did anything funny during the Truth or Dare. I remember one thing I had to do was, like, eat a piece of fruit sexually, and, what was it? It was a plum. I wanted the banana, but they wanted me to have the plum. But Natalie was cracking up, and, it was very interesting. You guys missed out on that one. And at the end, Natalie's dare was to give everybody pet names. And out of all things, she didn't understand, like, pet names. That could be any, like, little pet name, like, what do people call white girls with blonde hair? Snow Bunny, like, stuff like that. But Natalie thought it was give people actual pet names in comparison to how they have sex. And she was, like, saying the weirdest animals for everybody. I think she told somebody, like, they're like a monkey. Like, you know, it was hilarious. I remember answering interview questions about that. I really wish they would have showed it. Okay, so after that, that was, of course, not shown. Althea is, you know, this is back into the kitchen. Althea is saying he crossed me, blah, 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 and we're not even entertaining this conversation anymore. And somebody says, let's go by the pool. So me, Cedric, Sundy, and Ink go to the pool. We take the champagne with us because we had, like, a little good truth or dare thing. Like, everybody's in a good mood. And then Sundy's starting to look real nervous, and then she admits that she knew Althea was pregnant on day one. And I'm like, how did you know? Benzino told you. And then that's when I guess Cedric knew something wasn't right. Like, how would you know that whatever, you knew from day one, like, that's weird. And she's like, of course, well, because I knew him before, so clearly they still communicate or something like that. So Ink switches the conversation to me, like, you got my homeboy texting your phone. For one, we already discussed this. Secondly, I had already cleared it up and told the guy never to text my phone again. Ink had already went through my phone and saw that all my messages back and forth to him, that I even told the guy that I was with Ink and that I wasn't flirting back and forth with him. So for it to come back up again, and then Cedric gets all pissed, and he's like yelling at me, like, admit that you're wrong. And of course you see Judge Toller and them in the back saying he's deflecting, and he's gonna say, what did he say? He was like, cut that shit off. And you hear me say, I already did. Like, this problem had already been fixed like a couple days ago. Like, why is it still coming up again? And of course Cedric was mad at Sundy, and then like basically putting it off on me. And at the time, Sundy's looking so damn nervous. Cedric and Ink both cut me off to where I was like, no, fuck this, like, I'm leaving. And you briefly see me, like, wipe my eye as I'm leaving to walk up the stairs, and Sundy's, like, holding my hand to go, but she was really getting out of there for her own damn bit of it, because she did not want any more of this conversation. And later on, Judge Toller does mention this, because all this was cut out, and they said, you guys were so disrespectful to Sarah, both of you need to apologize, because you both, like, rudely cut her off. And I feel like that happens to me a lot, to where I don't get to speak, which isn't going to happen anymore, because I have been doing listening to a lot of self-empowerment stuff, and people are going to listen to me. Like, I feel like I had this problem on Bad Girls Club and all this stuff, like, oh, you are going to listen. Like, I'm not dealing with this anymore. So we're back at the breakfast table, and Althea tells me and Sundy that Benzino did say that they slept together, and Benzino saying that he had sex with her one time, and telling Cedric that, and saying that he thought Cedric already knew. And this is kind of messed up. This is pretty messy. So they all come back into the house, and Ink asks Sundy if she fucked Benzino. And he has, like, this evil smiling face, like, did you or did you not? And she's like, no, I didn't. He's like, so you didn't? And he was like, oh, you're lying. And it just goes along with, like, him having trust issues and stuff. So, like, I really wish that didn't happen, because not everybody's a cheater. There are loyal people out there. For one, I believe in monogamy. I want to be in a monogamous, committed, loyal relationship. And, you know, there's a part in the kitchen where he even says to me, like, oh, but you don't have trust issues, like, you don't display trust issues. And it's not that, like, I don't, like, have a little bit of trust issues because of certain acts that you may have done or made me not trust you, but no, I don't just overall have trust issues. Like, I know I'm a trustworthy person, so I've always been over trusting to most people, whether it's in business, relationships, friendships, all that. I know I'm trustworthy, so I feel other people are trustworthy also. So I think it's really not odd. I wouldn't even say odd. There's a reason why he feels like nobody can be trusted. And it's definitely not because of just other people doing whatever to him. Because if you know you're a trustworthy person, you should know that there's other trustworthy people out there. So with that being said, I feel like he knows that he's not trustworthy, which is why he puts that on other people as well. Okay, so sex days was one of the funnest days, as I said, but it seems that the whole episode was stressful. It was a really, really fun day. And next thing you know, it was sex puppets. So Sundy and Cedric go first. They say that they're not having sex, and it's because Sundy had cheated. And they had like a little, you know, in the little blooper, they showed like a little cute story where Cedric was saying how he met Sundy and stuff. It was really funny. So we were all in a good mood and all cheered up, even though that argument had just happened. And the next thing you know, Benzino and Althea go. And they started off good. All of a sudden, it starts into this big argument. And she was like, well, why didn't you just let me be with my guys? And he's like, well, how many guys were you with? And it starts this whole damn argument. And I was like, no. Ink and I got up and left. I was like, I'm not dealing with this. Like, I was in a good mood. Now I'm all stressed out. Like, I can't stand all this arguing and yelling. Like, it's stressful. And I went and got a drink. So when I come back, you'll kind of see the screen flash where I have this wine glass. And I think it was because we'd been drinking champagne earlier at the pool. And during Truth or Dare. So I had a mimosa, I believe, with orange juice, and so did he. I was like, I just can't deal with this stress no more. Of course, Elizabeth, you know, they're like, well, do you want us to leave? Elizabeth's like, no, I just want you guys to behave as if they're damn children. Like, just behave. Do the damn drill. Quit stressing everybody out. Okay, so Sean and Kathryn go. Kathryn was like, oh, a pink cardigan. Like, that was cute. Nice way to, like, lighten up the mood after all that stress. And it was really funny because Kathryn says, get the stuff to Sean. And, of course, that means lube. Yeah, I think their sex life is a little bit awkward, but overall they have a really good relationship. So whether the sex is awkward or whatever else, I mean, if they don't really care, I mean, I don't care. It has nothing to do with me. But they're cute. Okay, so Elizabeth says you should touch her everywhere first, except for her breast and her happy place, which of course we all know where the happy place is. That's down there. And they're saying that's like a good form of intimacy. So on our turn, you know, we have like a crazy sex life. For one, my puppet had on a yellow dress. Like, I do not wear yellow. That did not look good. And it was really funny because Sugar Bear imitates us, and he's like choking my puppet with Ink's puppet. Like, you take that, bitch. Like, that was really funny. Yeah, it's not so bad being choked every once in a while. Not in a domestic violence sort of way, but in a sexual way. Choking actually can be fun, so that's pretty funny that Sugar Bear did that. And, okay, so that was the sex puppet. Sorry, guys. My phone. Okay, so Mama June and Sugar Bear go, and there's, you know, Mama June says, "Oh, I just wanted a nut." And Sugar Bear puts the puppet in between Mama June's puppet's legs. And you guys notice his tongue was like this or something? Like, he was like doing the little head like this, and he was like, his tongue out. I was like, I cannot watch this. Like, I think I'm gonna be sick. Like, that was so weird. That was weird. Okay, we got 16 minutes. All right, so in the dinner area / breakfast area, we're back there again, and we spend a lot of time there. It's like every time between challenges, you go back there, because what else are you gonna do? It's time to eat. So Benzino tells Cedric he thinks it's one time. Benzino then asks Ink and Cedric if they remember everyone that they slept with, and he's like, no. Cedric's like, no. And Mama June's in the background, like, shaking her head no, too. I don't know if you guys saw that. And Benzino's like, yeah, it's impossible. For one, I'm not saying I'm a saint and that I haven't been with that many people, whatever, but I know every last person that I have had sex with. Every last one. I even know the people that I kissed. So, like, for them to be like, I mean, I guess it's different with guys because guys, most guys, not all of them, do sleep around more than women do, and they probably have more drunken nights and stuff like that. But I remember every person that I've had sex with, and I don't know. And trust me, every person that has sex with me remembers that they had sex with me. Sorry, Sundy. They remember. They definitely remember me. Alright, so then it turns out to a full-blown argument. Benzino was like chilling, like eating his food. He's like, nothing's wrong. Yeah, I was cracking up because Benzino's like all innocent, looking at his eyes, just like, you know, yeah, I fucked her one time. Sundy was so upset, screaming, yelling, man. That shit was so funny to me. Okay, full-blown argument. Judge Toller calls us into her place again, and they start with Kathryn and Sean. She says Sean should have had her back. She was like, boom, you should have had her back. Like, my husband's going to have my back. Completely agree with that. And I had always told Ink that before. She was like, no matter how crazy I sound, if I say the grass is purple, my husband better say whatever, have my back, even though the other guy's saying green. I completely agree with that. I told Ink that before. He's like, well, if you're wrong, you're wrong. Okay, well, no, you can tell me I'm wrong, like in the privacy of our own home or whatever else, but if it's an argument with me and another person, 100% I should be right. Like, and I would have his back 100%. I'm like that with my family. I'm like that with my friends. I'm a very loyal person when it comes to that. Right or wrong, I'm still going to defend you, and then I'll pull you aside and say, nah, that's messed up, you're wrong, like maybe you should go back and apologize, but I'm not going to not have your back in front of somebody else. No way. Okay, she tells Kathryn that she's a caregiver. Those are the first people that collapse, and that's exactly what Ink said before in Kathryn's room, but of course, you know, when he delivers a message, it doesn't really come across the same way as when someone else does, so it's all about his tone of voice, because he said the exact same thing Judge Toller said later on. And Ink said it first. Alright, so she says, okay, Judge Toller says watching us is like watching a little circus. She's like, there's so much joy, and that's a tremendous lesson for all of us. And she even said, she started off with saying, I'm going to steal one thing from you guys today. We're like, huh, what? And she's like, oh no, your joy, like you guys are so joyful and whatever else. And of course, based on that day, it wasn't just all joy, because you only saw the little puppet scene, but keep in mind we had Truth or Dare and stuff before, so of course me and him always joke and play with one another, and that was the part you didn't see earlier. And she tells me, you pick this guy and he has a whole case of crazy that he's carrying. He lives in this big hole of fear about hurt. And you have to acknowledge all of that, deal with all of that if that's the catch that you want. And trust me, it has not been easy. It's been difficult. I think, and she mentioned this in a previous episode, like, he's going to be like this with anybody that he's with. So it's definitely been a hard job, I guess you would say. Yeah, it's been hard. All right. Toller also says to Sugar Bear that, he tells this to Mama June, like, you have to forgive and forget the past, and you have to rebuild, and that, of course, Mama June has some part in this because she cut off sex with him, so he went outside the relationship. She tells Sundy and Cedric they need to figure out their own relationship and not worried about what happened, I guess, with Benzino and start to move forward. And then, last thing, Toller says to Benzino and Althea, she's like, arguing with you guys back and forth, it's not healthy, it lands right here. And of course she was pointing to her stomach being because Althea's pregnant, and yes, she shouldn't be all stressed out and stuff like that because that's not healthy for the baby. But yeah, so I'm also going to post the video that I did with my dad a couple weeks ago about manifestation, so make sure you guys watch it. It's a really, really, really good story, and it's actually going to be helpful towards you guys. You'll actually learn something from it. So I hope you guys like this episode, and make sure you watch the other video. And let me see, what do I want to know your thoughts on? I want to know what you think about the Benzino and Sundy thing. Do you think that they had sex together? Do you think that Benzino saying he forgot because he doesn't want it to be an argument? Or do you think Benzino really doesn't remember and Sundy is right? Like, I want to know what you think about Benzino and Sundy and if they slept together. Until then, I will see you next week.